The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
A very good evening, our viewers. We thank you for joining us this evening to this other edition of the Hotline Show. My name is Abdalla Tiff, and of course we'll be looking through a number of things as they do unfold within our country. As we speak today, it has been the official day for the opening of schools in Uganda. And of course, this comes amidst the economic challenges where almost every Ugandan, not every Ugandan, but a good number of Ugandans are struggling to make ends meet. The economy is not so much doing well on their sides. And of course, there are many issues rising up when you go, for those taking their children back to school. The tuition fees have been hiked, and all these are challenges. Even the commodities which are consumed on a daily, and they also seem to have being inflated within the costs. And all these are questions that go back to the big unanswered question of leadership and governance in this country. We all know that politics takes the biggest part in decision making to influence things to do with the economy, education, health sector, and many other things. And yet on the neighboring country, Kenya, you all know what has transpired. Today, the Supreme Court has given its verdict on the presidential elections of 2022, where the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga ran to court contesting the results. Excuse me, contesting the results, and of course, it has been clearly given out by the Martha Koome, the Chief Justice of the Kenyan Supreme Court, and the verdict, of course, wasn't so good for the Raila Odinga supporters. But what to do again? They only have to accept that Kenyans chose that way. And out of the nine grounds that were raised in the court, Raila Odinga lost in all. And of course, court had to dismiss the petition. Since it has been a case of public interest, it wasn't dismissed with costs. And well, we need to get back home. In the studios, I have Ali Ahmed Zikusooka. He is a sheikh, he is a lawyer, he is a member of the Justice Forum, and he is a leader in different portfolios. I am pleased that he has created time for us this evening. You're most welcome, Bwana Ali Zikusooka.
Thank you so much, my host, Tiff, the management of Digitalk, or the Alternative Uganda. We are very grateful that we have this platform to explain and share our alternative understanding of the equation this country is moving on. We appreciate you, our viewers, and we are looking forward to discussing issues of national and international importance.
Thank you so much. That's my guest tonight. And well, we're going to dive into the bigger questions, the bigger question that ponders into people's minds. That is the question of the economic crisis. When you talk about the economic crisis, it sounds much lighter than it seems to be in reality. But if you want to get the biggest response to the question of economic crisis in the country, you must dig it back to the kind of politics we have in the country, to the kind of leaders we have in the country. Of course, there is a lot. When you look at Uganda, it's one of the highly indebted countries. But now, as we speak today, schools have been reopened. Officially, schools have reopened. But many parents are crying out. They're like, school fees, the tuition, schools have hyped the tuition rates. But again, we also have the opposition. The purpose of the opposition in this country and elsewhere in the world is to give alternative views on how prevailing issues at hand can be handled. Mr. Ali Zikusooka, you are a member of the opposition, at least there is no question on that. And you have keenly followed how events do unfold in this country. Right now, each and every person you speak to says the economy, the economy, the economy, the economy. It's soon becoming another national anthem. As the opposition, what do you think is the biggest problem affecting the economy, putting other issues as on the side, like, you know, they always cite the issues of the war in Ukraine and all that, and COVID-19 and, you know, many other things which really do not contribute so much. There is a lot we can do. So in your own understanding of the economy and how you look at things, what do you think is causing all this?
Thank you so much. Posing a question of economy is a question that cuts across every generation, even in a one day born baby, even the baby inside the mother's womb
Can feel it.
is affected by the economy. So our problem, and the biggest problem that has caused Uganda the economic crisis, is the preach of patriotism. That is preaching patriotism, and in the actual sense, you're preaching corruption.
Okay.
Yes. You preach patriotism, and you want Ugandans to be patriotic, and at hand, we are celebrating. I will say we intentionally and deliberately. We are celebrating corruption. So where corruption is a medium of exchange in the government and government entities, you don't expect the economy to be doing so well, because every person in the government and the government entity, government offices, will be looking on their personal interest as opposed to the general interest, the interest of people. The Constitution has put Ugandans first in this leadership setting. But the leaders that we have gone ahead to actually not understand the cry out of Ugandans who sat down to enact the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda before it was amended. Because now if you're citing the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, you will cite the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda as amended. As amended. But we are trying to look at the Constitution before the amendments. Before the amendments. All what we have in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda before the amendments are quite a spell out of so many beautiful enactments that are going to make Uganda the promised land and actually look like the pearl of Africa. The pearl of Africa. But the leadership that has gone ahead to put into place this constitution have over a time thought that no, it is not befitting of our needs. So what we have to do, we have to manufacture new articles and amend, erase new articles, put in new articles and remove articles so that we can move on the pace that we want. That is the problem. A very big problem. When the leadership does not recognize a citizen problem touching their citizen, then you will understand that the problem is not the economy. The problem are the engineers of the economy.
Those are the leaders.
Yes, the engineers of the economy. First of all, our president. Secondly, our parliament. Thirdly, our Ministry of Finance. And all the committees in, because when I said parliament, I would actually mean the parliament, the legislature, and the committees concerned with the monetary issues. When I drive you back to the finance ministry,
it also has some
finance ministry, the Bank of Uganda itself,
finance.
Yes, under finance, the finance ministry, the parliament of the Bank of Uganda, and the executive, actually. And the executive. These are people all combined together, making the country look like it is a garden. It is a garden with trees planted or banana trees planted. We are expecting good news from the country, and at the same times, the person in charge of looking after this garden is trying not to meet the ends of the citizens of the country. So in actually feeling sorry for Uganda and Ugandans, we want to tell Ugandans that since the patriotic hearts have died in the mind and in the hearts of our leaders, then you don't expect anything more than the economy that you see.
Mr. Zikusooka, you seem to suggest that before, or as we do expect things to happen, how we would wish them to be, we need to first instill the sense of patriotism within our leaders. They seem to be lacking that. Is that what you're suggesting?
I think...
Because when you mentioned about corruption, it's one justification that our leaders are not patriotic enough.
Our leaders have not been patriotic. I think the patriotic leader we had here was Idi Amin Dada. And the first patriotic leader we had was Mutesa, the first president of Uganda.
Okay.
That was a patriotism. Obote was patriotic. Amin was patriotic. I don't know of so many others, but the president that we have today is not patriotic.
But he has come up with arrangements to make to actually teach patriotism.
Teaching patriotism is a different thing with you being patriotic. Yes, you can teach something that you are not into. But you know, patriotism is seen, done. You are patriotic by what you do. You are not patriotic but by what you say. Patriotism in a country like Uganda is emulated in the actions of our leaders, whereby the services of Ugandans, the services that Ugandans are in need of, are being given and reached by every citizen of this country. But not every citizen of this country acquires education, And that is a right in the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda to a citizen of this country. Every Ugandan is not at liberty to access health services, yet the Constitution has given every Ugandan a right to access the healthy services. But when you talk of the economy and you're sick today, when you go to government hospitals, you would rather prefer to go to a private hospital than going to a public hospital. Because even when you go to public hospitals, the doctors that have been given the mandate to see that Ugandans are actually okay, running their health very well, they are also corrupt.
They'll ask for kitu kidogo.
They will ask you for money, and if you don't have money, I'm assuring you that your patient is going to die, your patient is going to suffer because you have not given a doctor something that can push them to actually give you the service. You know, sometimes you say the services are not there, but the services are hidden. But when services are hidden, then there is no patriotism. There is no patriotism. A Ugandan feeling for a Ugandan cannot hide a service from a Ugandan. In times of agony, in times of danger, in times of need. You see someone is dying, but you are telling the person that has brought a patient in the hospital that if you don't,
He's dying.
no, the services are finished. So in such a country and in such a setting, not only in hospitals, but every ministry in this country has technocrats, corrupt technocrats to that extent, that if you need a service, you must pay for that service. Even when the officer is being paid by government a salary to accord you that service, but you must pay extra personal charges
To access a service.
so that the services can be actually made available for you.
Is there any hope that such things can be put in the right order? Things can get back on track?
We think that if the government has changed and we have a non-corruptible or corrupt leadership, non-corruptible and non-corrupt leadership. Have you understood me?
Yes.
And the viewers should understand.
They have understood. I'll break it for them.
Yes, because the leadership that we bring in,
Someone who is the corruptible, someone who is ready to receive a bribe, and someone who is not ready to give out a bribe.
if we are of that kind, we shall have a country that is service-oriented, service acquisitive, and we are very okay. And we shall move.
But when Mr. Museveni was coming, one of the issues he talked about, actually, it was to the economy, corruption, all such things. So we've seen leaders who talk, who give us who are good orators, actually.
Yes.
When they are trying to describe the kind of challenges, problems we have as a country. But of course, when they get into leadership, things happen to be different, totally different. And I am now disturbed that in the next day, we are going to have the government of Ali Ahmed Zikusooka in power, and who have also been telling us very, very sweet words, how they want the country to be corrupt-free. But they will be actually walking through the same footsteps, reading from the same templates that are being put up by the current system.
You know, when you call us for these shows, and we are to talk about this country, and we are giving alternative ideas on how this country should move, we should not forget the history of this country. We should draw lessons from the history of this country, from the leaders that have been before this country. Yes, we had leaders who could not even speak the English that you speak today, Latif. The good English that you put out here, and everyone says, yeah, the boy is speaking English. We had a leader who could not speak the English of yours, who could not even who could not even say she when he's meaning
Couldn't
she.
differentiate she and he.
Yeah, he could not say a she or a he. All in his mind was a he. If it is, yes, if it is a she, it would be he. But the information he's speaking would be reaching. And the idea is not what they say. The idea is what we are going to do. This gentleman was very, very, very clear. And he said, if you are found corrupt in my government, you are not supposed to be a minister. And credibility credibility at this time is lacking in government officials.
So we need a replica of what happened in those regimes.
Credibility, you know, when we talk about credibility, we don't even know how the appointments of leaders in these ministries, the appointments of leaders, of administrators in these governmental administration bodies are being done. Because tomorrow you will hear that the president has woken up one time and he has chosen, I'm giving an example, he has chosen Latif to be the CCA chairperson. Okay? But why? Because the father of Latif cooked a meal for the president while he was in the bush. So the rationale behind your appointment is a
thank you.
Is a thank you for your dead father who prepared some luncheon, like food for the president. Sometime back in 1986, sometime back in 1980, because that was the time of the war. So the credibility, we are looking at credibility. So I am trying to answer a question of why the economy is as is today. And we are talking about credibility. Credibility given the interest of a leader appointed and the appointing authority are very, very, very vital in seeing things move very well.
Mr. Zikusooka.
However though, the credentials of the appointees are also very important. We have turned all our brain to credentials. What papers do you have? And we have put down the question of credibility. Are you credible enough for this job? Or it is because you have a paper? It is not by paper. We go to ethics. People have been in offices and all what is beating them are the ethics. People are not ethically okay to sit, even when they have the papers, but they are not ethically okay to acquire public offices at all. And you are seeing them there.
I want to refer to the latest issue in Parliament. That's about the Uganda Airlines. That narrative fits in so much well. The CEO of the airlines, of course, this is now public information, everyone knows it, that the father was one of the people who used to support Mr. Museveni during those times of the war. And maybe her appointment as the CEO of the Uganda Airlines was a thank you for what the father did. But again, I want to ask, we all know the president has too much powers. When does his powers override those of the institutions established to do such appointments?
You know, the president of this republic have understood the people he is a leader to. He knows how to get whatever he wants. He knows how to manifest and manipulate everyone in their setting, because he is the appointing authority.
Himself.
He himself is the appointing authority. And he has appointed all people, and they are all under his authority. So, from a say, everyone would be like one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your wish. Your wish. Your wish. That is a very big problem. And this, I had a lawyer. I had a lawyer. I had a lawyer on TV. They had a case in court. And afterwards, the lawyer came out saying, all we need today is we have to act like Kenya. We don't need the president to appoint the Chief Justice. We don't need the president to appoint justices. Let them be chosen by the people of Uganda. Let them be chosen by the people of Uganda, and let them be accountable to the people of Uganda. But if the appointing authority is still Museveni, then these people are going to be accountable to Museveni. And whatever is coming out of there is going to be, they are going to be directives. They are going to be directive. I'm a Muslim, and I'm a cleric. The Muslims have a problem with their leadership. They have a problem with their leadership at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council. But when the parliament was passing the billions to fund elections of the Muslim leadership at Uganda Muslim Supreme Council, I was at a function with Hildeman and Honorable Chiaga. Honorable Chiaga Hilary of Mawokota. And he said that when a proposal came to us, the gender committee, and we had to allocate money to the Muslim sect to fund their elections, I was asking, why all this money and for what reason? Is elections the problem of the Islamic faith? The answer was, it is an order from above and it is a directive that money must pass. Is that being patriotic? Where is the patriotism in this country? If the lawyers are crying in the justice system because of the appointing authority and because of the appointed in those issues, and if now the CCA is crying of the CEO, the ministries are crying, and Ugandans are crying, where must we run to? What is the alternative to this? Ugandans should wake up, understand that the power belongs to them. The Constitution has given them the power to see things done well. So if they are not done well and Ugandans are still asleep, they are going to move 100 mileage, crying and finding difficulty with their economy, finding difficulty with their health systems, finding difficulty with their education systems, and every other entity is going to be led the way the appointing authority and the people sitting in the administrative positions as they wish. Even the technocrats, the would-be people, the technical people in those ministries have become a problem. The technical people in those offices have become a problem. You need something, they will delay it because you have not given them money. So where are we going? What is the problem of this country? The problem of this country is personal interest vis-a-vis the public interest. And people have put personal interest, individual interest, up front from a public office.
Mr. Ahmed, Mr. Zikusooka, some time back, we saw the president coming up for a walk to curb, to send a message that there is no space for corruption in this country. I remember that day, the following day, there was a group of civil society activists who came up with the same move to also do a walk saying no to corruption. And instead, they were arrested. Now, the question here is, does Mr. Museveni and his government have the will and the zeal to fight corruption?
I would say totally no. And if yes, corruption wouldn't be of any space in Uganda. Because what Mr. Museveni wants not to be done will not be done. But what Mr. Museveni has given a leeway will be done, will be seen done. The IGG today, when she proposed a very, what would be the very convenient solution to curb corruption, the president himself said, lifestyle audit, please don't go there.
He also added.
he said lifestyle audit, because I had Betty Kamya, the Honorable, say that Your Excellency, for purposes of having Uganda a better country and fighting corruption, not from this regime, but fighting corruption, looking way back, we shall be auditing we shall be making a lifestyle audit on every government official and every person due of that process, so that we can actually understand, Tiff, where have you gotten this?
You've worked for 3 years.
You have worked for 3 years.
But you have mansions.
You have mansions here and there and there. Where have you? That would also work on opposition people. The opposition people who go to government and get money from government and start building things, making a killing from their opposition dirty politics.
They would also have something to
explain. They would also have something to explain. You would be telling us where you have gotten all this money to get your mansion, where do you work to get this thing?
Actually, the president said that is not necessary. And the good thing with these corrupt officials, they are investing it here.
They are building tall buildings
yes,
in the country.
If you disturb them to that order, they will be forced to
take our money
outside.
Take our money outside Uganda. But you actually sit down and make evaluation, try to comprehend the president's understanding and making sure that he can put such a statement on an international television, on a national television, and speaking to intellectuals of this country. That stop the lifestyle audit to curb corruption, and you think you have the zeal to fight corruption? Or you are very scared that they are coming for you? Or you are very scared that they are coming for your son? Or you are very scared that they are coming for your daughters? Or you are scared that they are coming for your generals? Or even those people, the Bako, the in-laws, that you have invested so much in, that they have so much and they have not worked anywhere. So when the lifestyle comes in, they will ask, you have told us that you earn so little money.
3.6.
Yeah, you have told us on air that you earn 3.6.
The president.
Yeah, as the president. But still again,
does it translate?
Translate to what you have? Does it translate to what you have? And you have actually given us the accountability on how you give Mama Janet some of it and how you give NRM some of it. And then you say, I have a mansion here, I have a mansion here. Now, the lifestyle audit would actually go to the roots of President Museveni.
You tell he has cows.
And he will give us, because when you have cows and you have sold,
they are the records.
Yes, you have to give us a record. That is what they call lifestyle audit. We shall get to the tunes of how you have gotten this. But because lifestyle audit is very difficult, the president was very alert and said, this is not good. IGG, Madam Betty, I think lifestyle audit is good. That is what he said. Lifestyle audit is good. But when you go there, these people will take our money outside. They have invested it here because he even said that I'm seeing Kampala is looking beautiful. So, with that zeal, how can you tell us? Yeah. And how can you actually tell a Ugandan, an intellectual, a person who has gone to school, a person who has sat down, a person who wants the better for this country, a person who wants to see change in the leadership of this country to the better, and you tell them, if they have stolen too much money, but a person has stolen too much money to benefit himself and their family, not Ugandans. Not Ugandans. And whatever they have done is building arcades, and after they build arcades, whatever they have done in arcades is collecting money, rent from Ugandans. So this rent is going where? The government, the alternative government to this country, is also asleep. The alternative government to this country is also asleep. Because if we have...
Where you also subscribe.
No. The alternative government is in parliament. And it has a leader of opposition.
Okay.
It has a leader of opposition. That leader of opposition, we expect the leader of opposition to table alternative policies to help government. That government, you are doing this, but alternatively the best way of doing things would be like this. But we have not seen any alternative policy to fighting corruption. Don't you think if the alternative government to the regime today paused the lifestyle audit and pushed the lifestyle audit, President Museveni's words at Kololo would be ceremonial words, but the action would be going on.
Mr. Zikusooka, couldn't it be that the alternative government you're referring to, which is in parliament, seems to be overwhelmed by this whole issue? When you look at the level of impunity in this country, you see all this corruption that takes place in this country, at the back of it there is that impunity. You believe that one says,
I'm untouchable.
I am untouchable. So even a mere legislation in a parliament, by the way, the parliament has been reduced to such a level that someone will do something well knowing that it's a breach of the law, but he's okay, he's untouchable. So you find that at one point, even these members of parliament, they feel like, what else can we do anyway?
We are very sorry for our parliamentarians, but we are very angry at them. Very angry at them. Because the parliamentarians have immunity to speak. And those parliamentarians that have spoken out on occasions and on certain occasions have been identified by people. And you see people cherish them at a point. But the likes of Semju Nganda, these are people who come out to speak about what is hurting
Ugandans.
and the leader of opposition, where are you? Where are you, the leader of opposition? What have you done? Senyonyi has been put under investigation. I read, if it is true, on social media, that the president has instructed ISO and the IGG to investigate Senyonyi. Because now Senyonyi is putting that Senyonyi has asked a bribe from Madam that Madam of the CAA, that he asked a bribe, Bamturachi, that the Madam said no to the what, and he's trying to make sure that he tarnishes the name and the image of the airline and the lady. So the president of Uganda has instructed security and IGG to investigate Senyonyi. But if it is true that Senyonyi has asked for a bribe, which kind of leadership do we have in parliament?
And if it's not true?
If it is not true, then which kind of leadership do we have as our top leadership?
Well, this is the Hotline Show. And,
yes. Either way. Which kind of leadership do we have that is intended to threaten a person on duty? And if you also did ask for a bribe, which kind of a leader are you?
And he has also been threatened by some top leaders, the ministers and people holding high offices.
And that is the impunity you are trying to put across Uganda. The other time, these offices were raided.
Yes.
Yes. The other time, these offices were raided. We couldn't even have shows to tell people that, look here, the alternative is this to this. But if we have a president that can order an investigation of a leader on duty, then we need change. We need change, and serious change, and we must act as Ugandans to see that such intimidations in countries like Kenya, such intimidations stop in countries like Kenya, where an election can be nullified, because it has been nullified before. Okay?
2017.
Yes, it has been nullified before. And that was a precedent that people have now gained confidence in their judicial system. If it can overturn a presidential vote, a presidential election, and let everyone see, and it gained confidence. It gave the public confidence. The judges, the justices of the Supreme Court, of the Court of Appeal, of the High Court, are not presidential appointees in Kenya. No, they are not presidential appointees. In Uganda, the Constitution has given the president the authority to appoint everything. Even when you want a cook to be appointed, the president can appoint you one. Our president is overwhelmed with power. He has too much power, and it has overwhelmed him.
Do our legislators see that? Because we've always had issues, people saying there is need to tame some of the powers, and surprisingly, these issues have also been raised by people who were ordinary citizens, but even when they have joined the parliament, we have not seen such proposals coming up.
Because the president has understood that the honorable members of parliament need money. They are very poor. They don't know what to do. They have just been given a vote from their constituencies by their constituents. All they have come to look for is money, and they have not come to work for this country. So he will give them the little money. And you know, a poor person, even when you give them 10 million, it is okay for them to sell this country. and our MPs have done us, excuse me. Yes, and our MPs have done us a very, 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 very unsuccessful story to be told after the ages. The 8th Parliament, the 9th Parliament, the 10th Parliament, as if we don't have legislators, save for a few. And those fews cannot change anything. All they have to say, they will be like whistleblowers to the citizens. Because Semjunganda will come out and tell you, this is going on, Banange, what shall we do? But even when he's saying it, the Ugandans don't understand that Semjunganda is trying to mean that Ugandans wake up. Those people that you send to parliament, you must scrutinize them.
Do we have that competence?
Give us credible people.
Is that possible in this
That
country?
is the problem of Ugandans. The problem of Ugandans is that when the pressure is set for FDC, you will see FDC in parliament. When the pressure is set for NRM, you will see NRM in parliament. When the pressure is set for NUP, you will see NUP in parliament. But
regardless of their credibility.
Regardless of the credibility, and everyone, I was at a television set sometime, and we were talking about issues of national importance, and we are talking about corruption and how people are corrupt, and they should stop. One caller said, buli omu alya nabo bagende baliyeko. We have given them our vote knowing that they have gone to
eat.
To correct what they should eat.
I heard that from the former MP from Machindi, Rubaga South.
Yes, Honorable Katolubwam. So in Ntikati, I have finished eating. Now this term that you are going to give me is that I'm going to get for you, and you also eat.
That's how our politics has been reduced.
So in a country, you know, if it is in Rohama, if that statement comes from a member of parliament who is a village member of parliament, not an urban, but from a rural area, But this is an urban MP in an urban setting in the capital city of this republic, in one of the divisions that comprise the metropolitan Kampala. And he can say such a statement. Then you understand the people. Then you sit down and begin to understand the nature of people living in such an area.
The voters, the
voters,
people who sent
yes,
such a person.
Yes. And that is what is the problem of this country. And that is what President Museveni wants. You, Latif, if you stand at your home constituency, you will not pass through. You will not go through. Your intelligence and your intellectual ability cannot acquire you a vote to go to the parliament and begin to disturb, like Semju is doing. But even those that have the brain, we wonder where they are.
Actually, that was my next point
yes,
of
we wonder
question.
we wonder where they are. And these are people in the alternative government. Like, where are you? Segona, where are you? Honorable Segona, where are you? What are you doing?
And where is your party president?
Where are you exactly?
Basaliro.
My party president is always here telling people everything. My party president, Honorable Asmani Basalira, he's a credible MP and he has been giving issues and he's been talking about issues in parliament. He's discussing. Actually, it is Honorable Basalirwa, Honorable Semjunganda on the floor of parliament giving the Ugandans the alternative of what government has brought. So you don't talk about Honorable Osman Basaliro. And even when you go to the Hansards in the parliament, you go to the Hansards in the parliament, a smart MP is Honorable Osman Basaliro. You go, check in the papers when they are gauging the best MPs. Honorable Basaliro is always there.
So he has done his part.
He has done his part. So we are asking others, where are you to help these two? Where are you to help these two? The then brains of the Kantuntu cannot even say a word today. Where are you people? We don't want you to come on TV. We don't want you to come. Because ours here on TV is when we are telling Ugandans that we are hurting deep inside. We are hurting because those that we have trusted have breached the trust.
What is bringing all that? You see, we see these credible people.
They are comfortable.
Parliament and their credibility is no more.
They are comfortable. They are in their comfort zone. They are in their comfort zone. And this is why you see them crossing to every pressure group that comes around.
Could it
when
be
it is DP, they will stay in DP. They will say we are DP. If it is people power, they will cross to people power because they believe in people power. They will retain their comfort zone. And yes, a pressure group would want everyone to come across.
Zikusooka.
Have you heard Lumbiye say that? Have you heard Lumbiye say to some time back? Have you heard Lumbiye tell the principal, the Honorable Chagulanyi, that these are honorable members of parliament from your party, but they are not working for you? And he added, he was naming the leader of opposition. He was naming the leader of opposition. But we had also named the leader of opposition long time. And we are telling the principal, please, understand the people that you're trying to move with.
I want to go back to the point of credibility. Could it be that the 527 members of parliament, if not actually 29, it's too much that it swallows some of those credible leaders would expect to be speaking on behalf of this country?
If they were speaking, we would be seeing them. Today, Semjunganda is speaking, and everyone understands Semjunganda. But you can put Medadi Segona's picture here, and Semjunganda's picture here, and you tell Ugandans, who do you know of the two? But the Honorable Segona is in parliament for more than 15 years. But what is your take? Let us not cross. If you are actually credible enough, stay in your party. Don't cross to any pressure group and show us that you are credible enough. Semju Nganda did not cross to NUP. And he had the NUP candidate.
Neither did he lean.
Neither did he lean. Okay? But he had the NUP candidate. But the people of Chira said, our man. You understand? Because Semju has seen and has been credible. Osman Basalirwa that you are speaking about, okay, he was not leaning, but he also stood there in Ibujiri, and he won an election.
Then we also saw.
And Muhammad. He did not leave there what? He did not leave the party.
But we also saw
Muhammad Nsereko.
Yes.
He was an independent. But in Kampala here, where the pressure group was actually fuming, Muhammad Nsereko came out victorious. And Nyanzi, no. Because Nyanzi had already anticipated the seat in parliament, and he thought that we are already there. To his surprise, the young man was very smart. He had given the people of Kampala what they want. So the people of Kampala said, no. The Honorable Mayor, his worship, Elias Lukwago, did not leave his party. And Nabila was from NUP.
Lukwago left his party and went to FDC.
Opposition, but not NUP.
NUP is to his opposition.
Yes, but not NUP. We are trying to tell you that people crossed to a pressure group where they have gained comfort because they actually believed that they could not sustain their places, their comfort zones, if they had remained DP, if they had remained anywhere they would be. But we have to give credit to faces of Muhammad Nsereko. You must give credit to Muhammad Nsereko. You must give credit to the mayor, Elias Lukwago. And look at the margin. Look at the margin of Elias Lukwago and Nabila. Because also Nabila is like these people who cross. She came and said, where should I get my comfort zone? Nope. Crossed to Nope. But Elias Lukwago, whatever he has done for the people of Kampala, they said they voted Lukwago overwhelmingly.
I want to ask this before we go for a break. Many people who cross to NUP or the People Power movement, whatever, was it a crossing for their convenience, or it was premised on the ideology of the entire movement as People Power?
No. If it was that, it was for convenience. It was for convenience. And it is seen because they have begun to fight the principle. They have begun to fight the Honorable Kyagulanyi. Behind the scenes, all they do in camera is to make sure that they see them respect the Honorable, but behind the camera, the Honorable Kyagulanyi is nothing to them because they think they are smarter than him.
Where does this leave the future of the party, NUP?
No, NUP is a party that will live, and it must be very cautious. It must be very conscious of the people, because now NUP wanted people to have their cards, wanted people to come in. But still again, the president of this country knew that whatever NUP was going to do was to disturb him so seriously. So seriously. So he had to plant
his members.
Yeah, he had to plant elements. And they are there.
Let's first keep it at that.
And they are there.
We need to take a very, very short break. And of course, when we return, we shall have to continue with the discussion. In the studios, I have Ahmed Ali Zikusooka. He is a lawyer and he is a religious leader. He is a cleric. Are you a leader? I don't know. You'll give us more details on that. So we are taking a very, very short break, and when we return, We will be reading through some of your comments coming, and then of course we'll, in the last 30 minutes of the show, I will also be opening up the lines for you to so that you share with us your thoughts on the topic of discussion. But again, on a sad note, one of our colleagues here, Arnold Mokose Anthony, has lost his father, so it's kind of it's not normal moments for the colleagues here at the entire Digitalk TV. Well, let's break off shortly. We will be back.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
How you beautiful Ugandans, it's your girl Digitalk. Welcome to the fancy flow. Who doesn't see my hair, guys? I am super glamorous. Remember, this is the only show where we're going to be talking about fashion.
Please, where are you think? Teaching.
What has been confusing you about fashion? Sorry, you said I should not smile. For all the information about fashion, maintenance of body shape.
I can wear bling bling when I'm going out. So you can wear bling bling going out or any occasion.
We shall be doing all this in the fancy flow. Remember, it airs every Thursday right from 8:30 to 9 with your girl Teddy Tenjo. It is the fancy flow.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digitalk brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
as he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Welcome back from that short break, and I thank you for keeping it here at the Digitalk TV, and from wherever you're watching us from, I want to thank you for always being part of our discussion. My name is Abdalla Tiff again, and as earlier mentioned, in the studios I have Mr. Ali Ahmed Zikusooka. He is a member of the Justice Forum, and we're here to look into a number of things happening in the country. Well, in the first hour, our discussion was rotating around the economy, and he believes that the lack of patriotism amongst our leaders, there is a way it has accelerated the corruption and, of course, crippling down the economy as we see it today. Right now, as we speak, fuel is extremely high, and we have the highest price of fuel within the region. And one would ask, what is happening? We have been told about the oil, being extracted in our country, but all this seems not to have been able to see the light of the day. And we keep asking ourselves, when shall we have an economy where each and every citizen is proud of? When you look at the rate of debts, Uganda is highly indebted. Many projects that are taking place in our country, they are being erected on borrowed funds. And even our grandchildren will have to contribute to paying these loans. There is some time back, there were unverified news that was speculating how Entebbe International Airport has been mortgaged to the Chinese because there is a lot of money, that is within debts in our country, Uganda. But of course, many projects have been put in place, and you and me know that all these these figures, they're supposed to be paid by you and me again. But again, when we receive such big sums of money, and again, they are borrowed, but when they reach here, they are swindled. They do not do what is really meant to be done. Now this is a bit worrying. And when you look at the credibility of the leaders we've been talking about, it's another big question. Where our leaders, the electorates, the voters, contribute to bringing such leaders into political offices. But I am one person who believes that what you see in that leader is the replica of the society, the constituents where that person represents. Mr. Zikusooka, you went into an election in 2021 and your victory was postponed, maybe, perhaps for the next.
Because of the pressure group.
Because of the pressure group.
Yes.
That you leaned against. You were a part of that pressure group. Though.
But I was not part of NOP. I was part of People Power.
So when
and I did not, I left myself in my party, which is JEEMA, and I did not cross to NUP.
So the People Power as a movement was not sufficient enough to push you to the finishing line.
People Power had the values of every Ugandan.
But it lost direction along the way?
No, People Power has not lost direction.
Okay, it was
and
captured.
People Power has not lost direction, and People Power is still People Power, but it wouldn't go further as People Power. So all they thought was to come back and recreate themselves into a political party. And when you recreate yourself into a political party, you lose the meaning of the pressure group, which was People Power, for every Ugandan. Now NUP is a political party that must be subscribed to, that you must have a card for, that you must you must show allegiance to, but the People Power group was for everyone.
Was all embracing.
Was all embracing of every Ugandan who wanted to see the things change, to see the new Uganda.
Unfortunately, when it was morphing into a political party, you were never consulted, the subscribers of the People Power.
Yes, we were not consulted, and people were like, we should do this, because the brain behind NUP was actually elemented to kill the purpose of People Power.
But they were the same promoters of...
No, because some of us did not join NUP. We stayed in our political parties, because our political parties have the ideology that we think and believe it is going to take this country forward.
Well, we need to talk about education, schools. We have had questions concerning our education system as a country. We are in a country, Uganda, where even some graduates do not have actually particular skills. They cannot do. Someone graduates, he goes through the education system, which is around 16 years, I think. But after 16 years, that person needs further training in something. But again, the same education is so costly. What does this mean? You pay very huge sums of money to acquire education, But after 16 years, the only thing maybe you can do is to speak good English.
As we are here on the alternative, we must give alternatives. And if the people in government take time to look at such programs, they would be getting information that is very vital, significant, very important for them to draw lines on how to better Uganda educationally. But we are running syllabuses that are of a less benefit, save for letting people understand how to speak English.
That is if they can actually. And
that is if they can monitor and begin to beat and begin to monitor and prohibit vernacular speaking in the schools and make English the only medium of communication that can be used by our children. That is number one. But skills. If government makes sure that this English speaking that you want us to speak, but let me tell you something. It is not government. Government is still under colonialism, by the way. And this is why you see the education system does not change. Because our president and our government is not working for Ugandans. Like the president said, I'm not working for anybody. I'm working for my children. Yes, you are working for your children because the president is an employee of the mother colonial country. The country that colonized Uganda is what the president is working for. And the West. This is why he's not working for Ugandans. He's not working for anybody here in Uganda. But the education system should be like that because we should not be seen having skills that are going to better the country so very well. But on certain issues, you see that the Ministry of Education should revise the syllabuses that we have today because they are outdated given the running of the country and the world generally. People must now rethink on what is taught in schools. What should be taught in schools? What should be of significance to our people, the people of Uganda? What must we teach them? What must we give them as education? And when they pay, they get value for their money. Because today, if a graduate has the only skill that so many graduates have today is driving a border. Driving a border. People from Makerere, people from IU, people from Christian University are busy
riding border.
Riding border, and they have beautiful qualifications. You sit on a border when you are going somewhere, you are rushing somewhere, you can't use a car, you must sit on a border to make sure that you be there on time. And this border sees you maybe like you are dressed like this, and they tell you, Chichi, what are you going to do? And you tell them what you are going to do. And they tell you, please, if you have an opportunity, I have my papers there. And you say, what? Yes, we have papers, but we have nothing to do, and we have families. What must we do? We are not criminals. Let us make a living where it is due and possible.
Should our education be seen as something good when people have jobs, or it should be into practical skills and what people are capable of doing?
You know, if it is practical, then it is okay. Because practicals yield faster than theory. But now, how many schools do we have? How many people go to school, and how many teachers do you graduate from all over the country? But on skills, how many people are there on skills? There are very few people on skills. We must go skill-based education.
Recently, government introduced, how is it called? I'm forgetting that program. They're actually based in industrial something. DIT, Directorate of Industrial Training, which is actually giving practical skills to some Ugandans, regardless of their education levels. And
if that is done, it is being done on a very small scale. It must be a directive, like the president is directing on whatever issue that they want. It must be a directive intended to better the lives and the education of the Ugandans.
Well, my concern here is that when you happen to listen to some of the people actually fronting the whole idea of the DIT, it's like they are giving you, they're trying to convince you that the documents, the skills, they are better than a degree. Because they tell you, no. Actually, when you get these documents, you're far much better than someone who has a degree, a degree holder. So I've really failed to understand.
People in the telecom companies, MTN, this Airtel, people with skills and they are diploma holders. They are far much better than those that have masters. They are far much better than those that have degrees in the same field. Why? Because these people have practically been there. So if you come with your degree and you are given a machine, you can't operate it so as well. And a skilled person with a diploma has been on that machine often. What do you think?
So do we need to integrate the skills acquired under the Directorate of Industrial Training and maybe integrate it into some of the degree programs that are being offered by more of our public universities?
It must be a practical course. It must be a practical course. Things that are practical and they are that. A surgeon is hands-on with the corpse to understand the vein. A mechanic is hands-on with an engine and all parts of the car. This is what we want. The electricians are hands-on with the wires and understanding where to pass and making sure that the wiring does not affect the construction and the people, the habitats of the home. So that is what we want. We don't want you, we don't want you to teach us, we don't want you to teach us the history for so many years. That history can be taught in a small time. And you let people go and read their history because the books are there. But these practical courses are going to be so practical, and it is what we want. If you need a cloth, it is sewing. People must go and actually be hands-on so that a person can come, buy a suit, buy a shirt, buy a shoe. Because the materials, the raw materials are all, we have all the raw materials here in Uganda to make beautiful things. And this is why you see those countries come and export everything from here and they take them. Why? Because we cannot transform our materials into something that can actually be calling. That is a problem. But if government has helped our people, you know, when we talk about when we are coming out of COVID, we talked about subsidizing, and I heard government officials say that no, we shall. Actually, it was the president himself. He said we cannot subsidize because even when we subsidize, we are putting money back to what was a problem. But surprisingly, the government was giving local money to rebuild itself. What is that? How do you explain that? So many businesses have collapsed. If Roko has collapsed, but government is buying shares,
in a collapsed
in a
entity.
collapsed company and making sure that the company resurrects and putting too much money there. Where there is need, you don't see money coming. And you question the ownership of this company.
You know, just on that very, very point, I remember some time back, government had a number of parastatals here. You remember the UCB, coffee marketing, blah, blah, so many, so many things that were privatized, and they're no more now. And one of the arguments they were giving is that when these enterprises are within the government, the reason where they are, like, the workers, people working in there, they will not be fully engaged they will not perform as expected because they know this is a government parastatal. And so there was need to privatize and they bring in more people to work, and that's an excuse that you really didn't buy well. And now we're in times, then the government is also again doing the same thing which they removed, which they were not for a few years back. And now they resurface themselves, doing the same thing now. They're buying Rocco. And again, by the way, we have local investors who had challenges of their companies collapsing. And we didn't see government coming up. Remember Sembure? Sembure. And the last man actually just passed on a few months back.
All of us have companies that have not resurrected from
the COVID shock.
The COVID shock. We don't want government to help us because government will not help. If it was a patriotic government, it would be looking so much on how to help its citizens come back normally. But it is looking at it as an opportunity to take everything the citizens had in their possession and now reacquire it as government. I mean government because it is going to be now government officials. It might not be government directly, but government officials who are corrupt, supported by the president, with the denial of a lifestyle audit to those that have money through corruption to come and buy off. Because now money is gotten through corruption, but it is used to buy Ugandan companies which have been making Ugandans survive. The government officials who are corrupt, they have taken government money and they are going to now to be the managers of those companies. And how do you expect a country to move so well when that is the way to go?
We've had many investors locally here crying out to the government to come to the rescue. And government is nowhere to be seen. And unfortunately, what we see when we see some of these foreigners coming through, they are received with a big
That is
smile.
what I was going to tell you, that the only investor that is going to gain and get relief from Uganda is a Chinese investor. If you're a Chinese and you are an investor, yes, government will give you tax holidays, government will protect you, government will give you land for free, you will be given maximum security, you will be given everything. But a Ugandan will not be even looked at as a person to invest in his own country. But those are issues to do with the politics that Ugandans, a layman will not understand. A layman will not understand that politics. But the politics of a Chinese investor coming in here, and the only investment that you can make is actually creating a supermarket. An investor creating a supermarket? What are you investing in? What have you invested in for this country? So many Chinese have created supermarkets around Kampala here. And they are selling as supermarket managers.
They have retail shops. They
have retail shops selling a sugar for 3,000, 4,000, but that is a foreigner. But a Ugandan does not have a retail shop, small as it might be, to make some small living from it. What is happening? People have houses Ugandans cannot afford to sleep in those houses, and they have turned them into foreign affairs. Because every person does not want a Ugandan to come and rent on their house.
They don't have money.
They don't have money. Now the Sudanese, the refugees who have money should come and rent on their houses. Because they will get money. But perhaps the understanding is different in other countries. 35, 36, 37 years of leadership, and Ugandans are still lacking so much of habitants, houses, what to eat, the basics. This is very unfair. And all we see, skyscrapers going up.
Could this be...
and when you ask, who is the owner of that Chizimbe? A person from government is mentioned. A person from government is mentioned. The roads will actually even change direction to make sure that these buildings have access.
Mr. Zikusooka, could this be deliberate, that government prioritizes the foreigners at the expense of the local people? Could this be the calculation of the regime and how to keep themselves in power?
No doubt. No doubt. If the Ugandans are not empowered and you empower the foreigners, then it means you are not into the citizens.
Let me rephrase the question maybe. Why would Mr. Museveni be interested in a gullible society?
It is much easier to direct on what they need. Much easier to direct on what they need, because this is not your country. So if it is intimidation, they will intimidate you, and you don't want. But now look at countries like Congo, where there are wars. Look at countries like Somalia, where there are wars. Look at countries like Rwanda here, where people think that the Rwandan president is so harsh, they need freedom, they come here. Okay? And if elections come, these are people who are going to have the endowment of the Ugandan, and they will vote. And they will vote for Museveni. And you think you're going to win an election with such a capacity of migrants coming into Uganda, and they have stayed here? Because after 5 years, these people have mastered the art of speaking Luganda. Luganda is a very easy country. It's a very easy language to master. They come, they master speaking Luganda. They come and they are there. And if it is registration, they will register them. And they will cast the vote.
Mr. Zikusooka, I want to take you back slightly on the issue of, we talked about skilling Ugandans. And we all know that there is employment in higher magnitudes in this country. Unemployment.
I was going to go out of this shift.
Unemployment.
In protest of that statement.
Amongst Ugandans. And as a Ugandan, sometimes you sit home and like, what would happen if government maybe did this? For instance, I had something in mind, that what would happen if government chooses to offer tax holidays to all graduates, all Ugandan citizens below a certain age, a tax holiday for 5 years, when they happen to start up any investment of any sort, be it a retail shop, be it a barber shop, salon, like they're exempted from tax for 5 years to stabilize. Then when they stabilize, like, I think you've been able to keep your business, now I don't know. How do we support and facilitate local investment in this country? Because the biggest challenge is when we talk about investment, people always think about those people with huge sums of money. we should have local investors at whatever level. Even if someone is opening up a retail shop, let's have some value for that person.
You know, when you talk about revenue, and how to run this country, the president has on several occasions said we shall not reduce on any taxes. We shall not give tax holidays because the country must run and the country runs on taxes. We have cried. Politicians so many times have cried to the president. They have cried to government. They have written proposals on how government should help Ugandans come back to normal and normalize their businesses and see things move on well. And we have shouted high for government to listen because they know that that is the best way to go. But because if that is done, then Ugandans might gain the wealth, and it is not in the intention of the leaders that Ugandans must be rich. No.
I beg your pardon?
It is not in the interest of the leadership currently that Ugandans must be rich. So whatever must help government to make sure that the Ugandans stay poor is a blessing, and COVID was a blessing to government. By the way, COVID was so much a blessing to government because the corrupt are now very rich. Government is looking into Musenero. Members of parliament are abusing the doctor so heavily. You saw on TV sometime when the member of parliament was very harsh, asking whether Musenero was a doctor, asking whether Musenero was a Ugandan, and was a government appointee. Special envoy on COVID, and seeing the alternative of how Ugandan and the health is going to work. And if members of parliament can actually go an extra mile, no, by the way, not all of them, but those members of parliament who are actually patriotic, and there are very few, given the number of parliamentarians, 500, you will find 10. They cannot change anything. Even when he's in the committee, he's the only person who is going to ask vibrant questions, and the committee chairman will make a report, and the voting will be like he's alone. And it's not going to cause any effect.
Mr. Zikusooka, you mentioned that it's not in the interest of this government, the leadership we have, to see Ugandans becoming rich or getting rich. But we've seen some interventions.
You see, you are going to talk of Operation Wealth Creation.
Yes.
You want to tell me about Simanyi?
Yes,
Bonabagagawale. You want to tell me about this current one?
Yes.
The parish model.
Parish model.
You want to tell me about those ones?
Yes.
Those ones are not intended for Ugandans. Those ones are intended for the corrupt. That is money intended for the corrupt. It is
for the non-patriotic.
Yes, it is intended to serve the purpose of the corrupt leaders to have something to steal, but not to give Ugandans, not to empower Ugandans in the business sense. You can't. You can't tell me that the parish model would be so good when the LC chairman does not know about it. If you actually want to empower Ugandans economically from the grassroots, you must value the local leadership first. Because it is the LC, one chairman, be it NRM or NUP or what, if you are intended as government to help Ugandans, then you must value the leadership of these people that you are intending to help. So the parish, before you go to the parish itself, you have leadership before. You have the LC1, you have the LC2, you have this and this. And these are the people who know their people. But they are not included. They are not inclusive in the parish model what?
I
Exercise.
think the chairperson is included.
They are not included. I am giving you this, the LC1. The local chairperson of an area is not included in the system of a parish model. But you will hear that there is NRM representative inclusive in the parish model what? Setting. Then how do you expect these people to appreciate your leadership? And by the way, we want to tell President Museveni that President Museveni, these people who are leaders from the local areas must be respected. You are chanting too much money in the parliament and you are making people angry here. And these are the people you look to when you have come for the votes. You begin to tell us that you understand the LC1 chairman are very vital, they are very vibrant, but when it comes to pay, you give them 10,000. Can you imagine? What is that for?
And the 10,000, I think the LC1 committee has 9 members.
It has 9 members. It is for the chairman, I think. It is for the chairman. And when you come to look at the votes, you want them, all of them, to be your mobilizers. So President Museveni and the local government minister, what are you doing? Wake up. These are things we are talking about. Wake up and value the leadership from the grassroots. Grassroots leadership is very important. If you need to be a great leader, then greatness must be seen from the grassroots. These chairmen are not very happy. These chairmen are crying out hard when they hear 40 million being swindled by MPs. Just. There is nothing like do this or they have been paid for this. And you hear 40 million have been given to every MP. Because the president, or because anything is in the making, because the president wants something to pass. So money must go behind MPs and everything is done.
Now, back on that same point of unemployment amongst the Ugandans, the young population, you've already highlighted that there is need to, if these programs, the Youth Livelihood Program, the Bonabagagawale, the NADS, and name them, if they are to thrive,
one of
the
them,
local leadership must be involved.
Yes, but you give me one of them which is successful.
I don't know of any.
They are just changing names.
But I can mention them. But
they are just changing names, but the intention is to steal that money. But now they will change a name from Operation Wealth Creation to Emioga to Parish Model to what? But none of them has been successful. Tell us that these people have gotten success from Operation Wealth Creation and they have done us ABCD. Tell us that these people from Emioga, they have done us this and this and this. Tandikwa, they have done us this. Samba Mugerwa, they have done us this and this and this.
There's a capital venture fund.
What is this government is doing to change so many names and impacting government money into the hands of thieves and corrupt people?
How can the young people have hopes of being financially independent? Where should they get such hopes?
I think they should wait for inheritance. That is if your father is rich and you inherit. Because now it is costly to have capital to start up a business. Very costly to start up a business. There is no capital, and the only capital that is there is people buying borders. And after they buy borders, they want to send them out of business.
Surprisingly, many of those borders you see, they're on loans.
They're on loans.
One time I was discussing with one rider. I was like, I am supposed to pay 120,000 per week.
Per week.
And then that is for a shorter period of time. If you're paying, I think if you're paying for 6 months, if it's a year, you have to pay 80 something per week. But when you calculate, the whole border would cost something like 8 million shillings.
And this is their business still again. You ask the importance of borders, who are they? Border importers, who are they? People are fighting. People actually fight for the business of border. Because this one imports, this one also imports, and they are fighting and they are giving them out on loan. But the intention still is not giving these borders out on loan. The intention is making people slaves in their own country and they work for you. Because you have actually made them poor and you have not given them any alternative to look for money. All they must look for money is that. People go and sell their plots and sell their bibanja from Charo to come and buy a border. And those ones that sell their plots to go and work abroad where they can get much money are being termed, if actually they go through the right channels. Because people go and people are trafficked and people migrate. Those ones that go abroad, the government and the people of Uganda are not so happy. Those ones that stay and work from home where they say, let us work from here,
it's the same issue.
The same issue. They are being harassed. Whatever business is being done is looked into and is demolished there and then. What is the problem? Where can we get the relief? And from the question that you have put, where can a youth get a relief that is going to have some money in their pocket? From where? Every door is being closed. Every door is being closed. But you will listen to beautiful speeches when the president is giving a speech. Giving too much hope to people, but those hopes don't yield, and they have not yielded any resolution. Past resolution, no effect. What do we do? We are sitting to see the government change, or maybe those people who are patriotic will come in and make sure. Because now, when you see the youth intervention, even those that come to fight for the youth, the personal interest will persist. And it cannot go away. Because everyone sitting in a chair wants their people to be very okay first.
Before they think of other people.
Before they think of other people. There's a very big problem. Even the rich have closed their gates. There's nothing like help me here, help me here. The clergies are in churches and mosques telling people, God is telling you to help the poor. The poor are not helped. But the clergy will not stop telling people, God is telling you to help the poor. God is telling you to help the poor. Yes. How? Things are too hard everywhere in this country. Everything is too high.
Well, Mr. Ali Zikusooka, I really thank you for that submission. Now, we want to look at what has transpired on the neighborhood. We all know Kenya went to the polls.
Yes.
And for a whole week, they've been tussling it out in court.
Yes.
And today, the Chief Justice has given a verdict representing the 7 members who constitute the Supreme Court of Kenya. And of course, it's mixed reactions. Other people in excitement, while others, they are not happy about the ruling. But now we all have to accept that Ruto is the 50th
president-elect
of Kenya. What does Ruto's victory or presidents mean to mean to Uganda in terms of regional trade?
Relationship? You know, for the people that have done international relations and for the people that have done international trade, they know that Ruto is the best ally with Museveni. So Uganda cannot. Uganda is at. Uganda is happy. Uganda is happy. By Uganda, I mean Museveni is happy, and because you see, Ruto was seen some time back campaigning for President Museveni
In Karamoja.
in Karamoja. So that bond of a president, of a vice president coming to campaign for a president in this country means there's too much
connectivity.
Yes, too much connectivity. They have so much in common that they can share. For if they are not personal interests for their presidency and they are meant for the citizens, then they are too much. Because President Museveni is the longest serving president in East Africa.
And among the longest serving presidents in Africa.
In Africa. And in the world. He's a senior. He's a senior universal president. Senior universal president. So, Ruto's victory is good for Uganda. Ruto's victory is good for Uganda because it is not going to be difficult, even when it means a phone call. The colleague will pick a phone call and he will call a colleague and things will be okay. So it means well for Uganda. You remember when the borders, of Rwanda were closed? It was because of the at loggerhead. The presidents were at loggerhead, and everyone was like, "I am the boss." This one, those two fought in the guerrilla war together. Museveni recruited these ones, and they fought. After the fighting, now Kagame gets independent in a country where he leads. So President Museveni wants this gentleman to believe
that he's still under
the NRA. But the man also wants the President Museveni to understand that when you give birth to a child, there is a certain age where they become independent. I want you to let me lead my people independent of your orders, independent of your wishes. Okay? And things happen. Things happen like that. So we don't expect to see that in Kenya, because Ruto seems to be much more close to Museveni currently and in issues of leadership than was the president of Rwanda. Because it was the son now to go and call the uncle that, hey, my uncle, and things happened, and the birthday was shared, the cake was shared, and the hidden talks were also, and you saw President Museveni now going to Rwanda as a hero.
After cake pieces
after the cakes, the Commonwealth heads of states had a meeting
in Rwanda.
And it was in Rwanda. So President Museveni was welcomed as a hero in Rwanda. But if the problem was still, then it would be a difficult reception. But after things got right, the reception was welcome. Very okay. Praises, going as if he was going back home. Okay? But now the Kenyans want the Ruto and Museveni, they don't have any problem as yet. And I think Ruto is going to be a loyal president to Museveni.
So do we see Ruto acquiring part of the skills, the leadership skills, or trying to do a replica of
Yoweri Kaguta?
So are we seeing another Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in Kenya?
No, we are not going to see another Yoweri Kaguta Museveni in Kenya, because the Kenyans have now have tried to respect their constitution.
And they have functioning institutions.
Yes, they have functioning institutions. There are the power of the presidential power in Kenya is very tamed, is not as that of Uganda. So Ruto is a colleague and a royal president to Museveni in the terms of his presidency. And how they can lead. Because now You cannot see a change of constitution in Kenya. I don't think, and I don't see Kenyans change the constitutions to suit the interest of a sitting president as Museveni has done. Because Museveni here in Uganda has had the power of everything. It is different with Kenya. Kenya, the presidential power is termed limited to things that you must do. Even the appointments are not presidential as it is seen here in Uganda. So and actually the modus of operation in Kenya is much more different with the operation in Uganda. That Ruto has merged his leadership with so many other people. It is an agreement.
Like a coalition, yes.
Yeah, it is a coalition. It is an agreement leadership. It is not like President Museveni who is taking the whole election as a one man, as an NRM leader, as a whole.
And in Kenya, it's
and
different.
yes, Kenya is very different. Kenya is very different. So if Kenya is very different in that setting, you can't see another Museveni in where? You can't see another Museveni in Kenya. And the Kenyans have a democracy that is different and much more mature compared to a democracy in Uganda.
You can anticipate.
You can anticipate. No more. Yes, exactly. Because the Kenyans have come to learn from their past mistakes. Ugandans have not learned from their past mistakes. Raila Odinga himself was in the mistakes of Kenyan votes and Kenyan killings, which were very many and very brutal in the last elections. So Raila Odinga has come to learn that the killings are not helping Kenyans. Let us concede. But we shall concede honorably. We shall keep our constituency safe. So how do you keep our constituency safe, even when you know the outcome? In the first instance, as the Electoral Commission, the Independent Electoral Commission of Kenya is saying that it is Ruto. Okay? Yes, you shall say no. So that your constituency still believes in you. And you go to the Supreme Court. After the Supreme Court announces, have you heard Raila Odinga say that he has now, from the ruling of the Supreme Court, he has respected the ruling of the Supreme Court and he has congratulated Ruto, Dr. Ruto, of becoming the President of the Republic of Kenya, and he's telling them, please,
let's move on.
People in concentration, make sure that you uphold the Constitution for the interest and the better interest of this country.
Now, one other question here. You see, there is a lot to learn from Ruto's coming into, rising into that, the highest political office in Kenya. One, Ruto has broken down that system. We've all known that Kenya's president has been so much into two tribes, and then
the Kalenjin have been
the Kalenjin and the Jaluos, and now we have the Chikuyus and the Jaluos.
Yes, the Kalenjin have now come in.
The Kalenjin now have come on. Secondly, it has been so much of family rule. You know, after this family, at least you can anticipate that maybe it will be more his family, you know, something like that. And now that is also no more. He has also set another precedent that anyone, as long as you're smart enough, you can rise to those high ranks. And if we bring it back home here,
it is
many of our opposition politicians, by the way, I don't know for your case, they have been supporting Raila Odinga. They've been supporting Raila Odinga. Now, what would be your comment in that now Kenya is having a young man who has given it a shot for the very first time, and he has made it, someone who is not coming from the well-to-do background, someone who is coming from a family which has no prior attachments to leadership in Kenya. Is that something you believe can happen in Uganda? Like we had Chagulanyi from a very humble background. He also rose to fame politically besides his music. But still, it had its own limitations.
Thank you so much, but you also don't forget that the young man has been vice president. That one should give you an eye open. That raising from the second highest to the highest is
not a big surprise.
Is not a big surprise, because since he has made it,
he has been close to power.
Yeah, since he has been since he has been second, then second can also be first. Yes, second can also be first. But his brilliance is that knowing where to touch, which button to press, to make sure things happen. The atmosphere in Kenya has given him the chance to rise to that office, because the atmosphere is the independence of organs is seen as opposed to the independence of directives in Uganda. The Electoral Commission in Kenya and the Electoral Commission in Uganda, this one is independent and this one is independent with the directives.
Now, as we wind up, we are running out of time. Let's talk about this, because Raila Odinga has given it his all, and it has proved that it may not be.
No, he's not going to be.
Two, could it be that his coalition with the sitting president could have affected him? Exactly. Initially, this man was seen as someone who is for the common people in Kenya. And now that he abandoned them and crossed over and he was part of those on swinging chairs on the dining table, he left a vacuum behind.
Yes, you know when
that this man occupied.
Yes, you know when the people died, they died for him. And that handshake was like
a betrayal.
Yes, it was like, you have betrayed us. But it is okay, you are Baba. But you can tell from the race, the Kenyan race, that Raila Odinga was a powerful candidate, a very powerful candidate. So don't underestimate him and his coalition with the president. But this boy was very smart. This boy was very smart. He knew which buttons to press. The coalitions he made, the people, and how he approached them was very, very, very indicative of a situation of his victory.
Could Raila's edge must have contributed to his failure as well? When you look at the population in Kenya, just like Uganda, they have a big population of young people. Could it have been that these young people do not find them fitting to have a president who is not part of their generation?
No. From the race, from the competition, that could not be my observation.
Yeah, one would think that it would have been a walkover for Raila Odinga.
No. From the competition, it wouldn't be my observation. But Raila Odinga, it would be a walkover for Raila Odinga if the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Kenya was a corrupt one, and if the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Kenya was on directives of the president. But because of the difference in the diversion and the roots of democracy that the two sister countries take, the independence in Kenya is seen to be the real independence.
Give me your closing shot.
My closing shot is that we are much grateful for your hosting, and we appreciate the viewers, and we want them to keep watching this show because it is very educative and it brings the issues that touch the citizens of the country.
Thank you so much, Bwana Ali Ahmed Zikusooka. We really thank you for always creating time whenever you're called on to be part of the discussion. And then for our viewers, I really thank you for always being part of us. And then the team I have worked with, thank you so much. And of course, like I earlier said, it's a sad moment for us here. Our own Mokose Arnold has lost his dad, and so all is not so much well here. But we do expect that the late dad will be laid to rest on Wednesday. Well, thank you so much. Until next Monday again, good night for now.